Hi friends, Allie here. This week I've been sharing tutorials for these 3 country cottage minis. On Monday I shared the mini country cottage stocking, then the mitten on Wednesday, and today we'll be making the beanie. If you're not familiar, I have regular size versions of these patterns, but I thought it would be fun to make mini versions of them for the holidays. You can use them as tree ornaments, gift card holders, put little treats in them, or attach them to gifts. So today we'll be making the mini country cottage beanie. I'll show you how to make it two-tone, so we have one color for the main body and another color for the brim and pom-pom. This mini beanie measures approximately 4 inches by 2.5 inches and is a perfect fit for a gift card. You can even add a hanging loop as well so it could be hung on the tree. Before we get started, if you want to follow along with the free written pattern for this beanie and the 2 other minis, you can find them on my website, theturtletrunk.com. Or if you want the ad-free printable PDF, which includes all 3 of these mini patterns, you can find it in my Etsy shop and on Ravelry. So if you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For today's video, you'll need medium 4-weight yarn. I'll be using Red Heart Super Saver. You'll need 2 colors, one color for the body, which is about 16 yards, and then another color for the cuff or brim and pom-pom, which is about 6 yards. You'll need a 5mm or H hook, scissors, and a yarn needle. Starting with color A, we're going to make a magic circle. So take your tail end of your yarn and wrap it around your pointer finger and your middle finger. When you bring it around for a second time, bring it to the back of your hand. Then take your crochet hook and go under the first loop, grab the second loop and pull it under, flip that up, and then we're going to secure that with a chain 1. For round 1, we're going to be working inside of the circle, so we're going to half double crochet 8 times inside the circle. So to half double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So for round 1, we're just going to work 8 half double crochets inside of the circle. When you reach the end of the round, we're going to take the short tail end there and pull it tight to close up the hole in the center. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the very first half double crochet of the round. I'm going to join and then chain 2. So at the end of round 1, our stitch count is 8. Now for round 2, we're going to work 2 double crochets into each stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So for round 2, we're just going to work 2 double crochets into each stitch around. At the end of round 2, our stitch count is now at 16. We're going to join to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch, and then chain 2. Now we're on round 3, and this is where we're going to start adding our texture. So for round 3, we are going to start by working a double crochet into the first stitch. And then into the second stitch, we're going to front post double crochet. So yarn over and insert your hook beside the post of the stitch instead of at the top. So we're going to go from the front to the back, around the back of the post, and then to the front again. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So we're just going to keep repeating those 2 stitches. So double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet into the next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook beside the post of the stitch and around the back, pull up loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So for round 3, we're just going to repeat double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch. Your last stitch of round 3 will be a front post double crochet. Then we're going to join to the top of the first double crochet of the round with a slip stitch and chain 2. Now for round 4, we're going to work the same 2 stitches, but we're going to work them in opposite order. So we're going to start with a front post double crochet. So working around that double crochet from the beginning of the last round, we're going to front post double crochet, and then we're going to double crochet into the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat those 2 stitches all the way around, front post double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch. So you're always going to be working your front post double crochets into your double crochets from the previous round, and then your double crochets into the front post double crochets from the previous round. So for round 4, just keep repeating front post double crochet into the next stitch and double crochet into the next stitch. Our last stitch for round 4 is going to be a double crochet. Then we're going to join to the top of the first front post double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 2. So we're going to work one more round before our brim. So we're going to repeat what we did for round 3. So for round 5, we're going to double crochet into the first stitch, then front post double crochet into the next stitch. So just repeat that all the way around for round 5. Double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet into the next stitch. The last stitch of round 5 is a front post double crochet, and before finishing the final pull through of the stitch, we're going to change colors. So yarn over and go around the post, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. But at this point, we're going to drop our color A yarn and pick up our color B yarn to change the color. And then we're just going to finish that final pull through of that stitch with our color B yarn. Then you can join to the top of the first double crochet of the round with a slip stitch. And then before we move on to the brim, I'm just going to tie off my color A yarn. And then you can weave in all of your ends before we move on if you'd like. So I'm going to cut off color A, and then I'm just going to take the tail end of that and the tail end of the color B yarn and tie those together so they don't come undone. Then I'm just going to tuck my ends on the inside. I'll weave them in all at the end. Feel free to weave them in now though if you'd like. So now we're going to carry on to the brim. So to start the brim, we're going to chain 4. And now working back down that chain, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And then single crochet in the last 2 chains. And now working into the last round from our beanie, we're going to skip the stitch we're currently attached to and then slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So it looks like that. Now we're going to turn, and then working back up the brim, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only all the way up. So single crochet in the back loop only in the next 3 stitches. So there's row 2, chain 1 and turn. Now for row 3, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only in the next 3 stitches. Then when you reach the bottom, we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches from round 5. Then turn. And then we're just going to keep repeating rows 2 and 3 all the way around the brim until we reach the end of row 15. So you're going to single crochet in the back loop only all the way up the brim, chain 1 and turn, then single crochet in the back loop only all the way down the brim, and when you reach the bottom, slip stitch into the next 2 stitches from round 5. So just keep repeating rows 2 and 3 all the way around. So I'm just on row 15. And when I get to the bottom, there's only going to be 1 stitch left from round 5. So I'm going to slip stitch into that last stitch and turn. So now we're just going to join the ends of our brim together. So we're going to work in our foundation chain from the beginning and then into our last row. So insert your hook into the first foundation chain and then into the corresponding stitch from that last row. I'm going to be working in the front loops only from that last row just to make my join a little less bulky, but feel free to work in both loops if you'd like. So we're just going to slip stitch all the way across. So there is our brim. So now you can tie off your yarn. You want to leave a long enough tail that you can weave it in. And then now I'm just going to weave in this end and then all of my other ends. So here is our mini beanie. You can leave it as is if you'd like, or you can add a pom-pom. So I'll show you how to make a mini pom-pom. So take the yarn, whatever color you want to use for your pom-pom. I'm going to be using the color B yarn. You're going to take the tail end and wrap it around your pointer finger and your middle finger about 30 times. The more you wrap it around, the denser the pom-pom will be. So just hold the end with your thumb and then carefully wrap it around your two fingers there. Make sure it's not too tight. And we're just going to repeat that 30 times. Then we're going to cut that off at the top there. And then I'm just going to keep that carefully on my fingers without letting it come undone. And then I'm going to cut another strand of yarn about 12 inches. And then you're going to place the wound ball on top of it in the center, trying to keep it together as well as you can. So just very carefully place it on top like so. And then we're going to tie the 12-inch strand around it. So as tightly as you can, we're going to tie that strand around it, securing it with a knot or two. And you just want that strand to stay in the center as best as you can. And just tie it as tight as you can. I'm going to tie mine a second time, so I'm going to wrap my yarn around it the opposite way now, just to make sure it's really secure. So I'm going to wrap it the other way and then tie another knot on the other side, pulling as tight as I can again. Then we're going to grab our scissors, and as you can see around the little wound ball, we have all these loops of yarn. So we're going to cut those all in half. And just make sure you do not cut the 12-inch strand ends. You can use that to hold on to your pom-pom. And then at the end, we're going to use those to attach to our pom-pom. So do not cut the long ends we had left over from our 12-inch strand. So make sure you have all of the loops cut. And now we're going to trim all these pieces. As you can see, it's looking a little crazy. Some pieces are way longer than others. So we're just going to trim the pom-pom until we get a nice round ball. So I always like to start with the really long pieces and cut them down to match the shorter ones. And then just take your time and cut little bits off at a time. Once it starts getting smaller, it's easy to overcut. And then once you cut too much, you can't go back. So it's always best to just cut off little bits at a time and just keep moving it around until you get a nice little round ball. So I'm just going to keep going until I have my pom-pom looking as I want. So here is our pom-pom. So now we can attach it to our beanie. So we're just gonna pull those strands through the top of the beanie. So you can use a yarn needle to do that or a crochet hook. I'm gonna use a crochet hook. So I'm just gonna insert the crochet hook through the bottom and try and get it on the side of the center and then pull through one of the long strands from our pom-pom. And then insert my hook, trying to get on the other side of the center of the hat. Pull through that other strand. And then I'm going to flip the beanie inside out so I can tie those ends together. So I'm just going to secure that with a knot or two. And you can weave in those ends or just cut them. I'm just gonna cut them short. And then you can flip your beanie right side out. And there we go. So again, you can leave your beanie as is if you'd like, or we're gonna add a hanging loop now. I'll show you how to do just a super quick and easy hanging loop, and then we are all done with our mini country cottage beanie. So just a super quick and easy way to add a hanging loop. I'm gonna cut a strand of yarn that's about 6 inches long. Grab my yarn needle. And then I'm just gonna be working behind the pom-pom, and I'm just gonna string the yarn through, working through just a couple stitches on the back. You could also attach the yarn beside the pom-pom on either side of the pom-pom. But I'm just going to do it on the back so then it's not pushing in on the pom-pom. And then I'm going to take the tail ends there and just tie a knot. Then I'm just going to trim the excess yarn. And there we have a super simple hanging loop. And we are all done with our mini country cottage beanie. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to check out the videos for the other country cottage minis and the original versions of these patterns as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is up. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.